Water drips from my hair as I stand frozen in the hotel bathroom doorway, one hand clutching my white towel close. Denise looks up from my phone, her fingers still hovering over the screen. Our eyes lock. "Just checking the time," she says with a smile that reminds me of the one she wore in 1992 when she told Mom I broke her tennis bracelet. Something cold slithers through my stomach. The same instinct that made me document every transaction at Portland Investment Partners whispers that this moment matters. Mark appears in the hallway behind her, his lawyer's eyes taking in the scene. The muscles in his jaw tighten ever so slightly. "Everything okay?" he asks, gaze shifting between us. "Of course." Denise drops my phone onto the nightstand with a clatter that makes me wince. "Val, you should hurry. The breakfast buffet closes in 20 minutes. I nod, retreating into the bathroom. Through the door, I hear her heels clicking against the carpet, then Mark's low murmur asking a question I can't quite catch. 3 hours later, we're checking out of the Boise Hampton Inn. My fingers tremble slightly as I open my banking app to check the room charges. The balance stares back at me. $1,300. I blink hard, scroll up and down. Last week it was $10,500. I'd been saving for a down payment, building my future one careful deposit at a time. "What's wrong?" Mark leans in, his shoulder warm against mine. He scrolls through the transaction history, and each line hits like a punch to the gut. $3,000 to Denise Monroe card, ending 4,821. $4,000 transfer to Travis B. Monroe. $2,200. ACH payment to Elaine Monroe. "No," I whisper. The hotel lobby spins around me. The shower. My phone left unlocked on the nightstand. Denise's too bright smile. Mark's hand steadies my elbow. "Let's sit down." "No." My voice sounds strange in my ears. I need to make a call. In the parking lot, morning sun glints off rows of windshields. I press my mother's contact photo, the one from Christmas where she's wearing her favorite pearl earrings. They were a gift from Denise. She answers on the second ring. "Val, honey, how was the wedding?" "Mom," my throat constricts. "I just checked my bank account." A pause, just long enough to confirm what I already know. Then her voice shifts, casual as discussing the weather. "Oh, that, we just split it. You have more than you need, sweetheart, and Colin's wedding was so expensive." The sun suddenly feels too bright. Mark watches my face, his legal pad already in hand. Years of taking witness statements have taught him to document everything. "That's theft, Elaine." My voice comes out quiet but firm. Using her first name feels like crossing a line we can never uncross. She laughs, the sound sharp as breaking glass. "Don't be dramatic. We're family." Family. The word brings back a flood of memories. Dad taking my college fund for Denise's wedding. "You can get loans, princess. Your sister needs this." Mom borrowing my first bonus check for a family vacation I wasn't invited to join. "You're so good with money, honey. You'll make it back in no time." The pattern stretches back as far as I can remember. Take. Minimize. Guilt. Repeat. I end the call without saying goodbye. Mark's hand finds mine, warm and steady. "Turn the car around," I tell him, surprising myself with how calm I sound. We're going to my parents' house. The familiar streets of my childhood slip past. Maple trees line Morrison Avenue, their leaves beginning to turn gold. Mrs. Peterson still has her collection of garden gnomes. The basketball hoop where Colin practiced free throws still hangs over the Wilsons' driveway. We pull up to my parents' Victorian with its perfect lawn and fresh trim. Through the dining room window, I see them gathered around the table. Denise throws her head back, laughing at something Travis said. Mom pours coffee into her good cups, the ones she only uses for special occasions. "They're celebrating," Mark says quietly. My hand closes around the car door handle. Not for long. Their laughter cuts off the moment I push open the dining room door. The scent of fresh coffee and cinnamon rolls hangs in the air, a mockery of Sunday mornings from my childhood. Mother's good china gleams on the table, the set she brings out when she wants to pretend we're the perfect American family. Denise's fork clatters against her plate. Travis hunches over his coffee, suddenly fascinated by the dark liquid. My father stares at the half-eaten pastry before him as if it holds the secrets of the universe. "Valerie!" Mother's voice hits that artificial high note I remember from parent-teacher conferences. She stands, coffee pot hovering over an empty cup. What a lovely surprise. You're just in time for breakfast. Mark's solid presence behind me steadies my racing pulse. His legal pad makes a soft whisper as he pulls it from his briefcase. Tell them, the words scrape my throat. Tell them what you did with my money. Denise's chin lifts. A smear of frosting clings to the corner of her mouth, and I fight the urge to hand her a napkin like I did when we were kids. Don't be dramatic. We redistributed some resources that weren't being properly utilized. Redistributed. The word tastes like copper on my tongue. You mean stolen. You live alone in that fancy apartment. Denise waves her hand, platinum bracelet catching the morning light. We have kids. Private school tuition, sports camps, music lessons. College funds, Travis adds, finding his voice. His new watch glints as he reaches for his coffee. The same brand he'd pointed out in the duty-free catalog on our flight to Colin's wedding. Your life is comfortable, Val. Single, successful career woman. We needed it more. Mother's coffee pot clicks against the china. You always were selfish with your money, honey. Remember when you wouldn't chip in for Aunt Martha's cruise? The poor woman had to take it to inside cabin. The new television on the wall catches my eye. 70 inches of crystal clear screen that wasn't there last weekend. The home shopping channel plays on mute. Models displaying jewelry that looks suspiciously like the pieces adorning my sister's wrists and ears. Needed it more? My voice comes out steadier than I feel. For what? That television? Denise's new bracelet? Travis's watch? The spa appointments were medical necessity. Denise smooths her freshly highlighted hair. The stress of managing a household. A phone rings. The generic chime echoes through the room as Mother fumbles with her cell. Colin's face fills the screen. Speaker, Father barks, his first word since we arrived. Mother's finger trembles as she taps the icon. Mom? I just got the oddest call from my bank. Something about unusual transfers from Val's account during the wedding. What's going on? Nothing that concerns you. Denise's voice could freeze water. Stay out of this, Colin. The hell I will. Val's been helping me with rent while I finish grad school. What did you? His voice cracks. Tell me you didn't. Silence fills the room like smoke. Travis studies his new watch. Mother's coffee pot shakes, dark drops staining the white tablecloth. Father pushes his plate away, shoulders curved beneath his cardigan. What's done is done. Father's words fall like stones. No point arguing about it now. It's just money. Mother sets the coffee pot down, cream-colored porcelain against mahogany. Her pearl earrings catch the light Christmas gifts from Denise. Now I know who really paid for them. Family is more important. We can put this behind us, start fresh. I made your favorite cinnamon rolls. The familiar scent turns my stomach. How many times had she baked these after taking something from me? My college fund. My first bonus check. Each theft followed by sugar and spice, wrapped in the suffocating blanket of family obligation. This isn't about money. The words rise from some deep, untapped well of clarity. This is about respect, about trust, about seeing me as a daughter and sister instead of an ATM. Val, Denise starts, but I cut her off. This isn't over. I turn, Mark's hand finding the small of my back. Colin's voice follows us through the doorway. I'm booking a flight to Portland. We need to talk. The front door closes behind us with a quiet click. On the porch, morning glory vines twist around white columns, purple blooms reaching toward the sun. Mother planted them the year I graduated college, the same week she borrowed $2,000 for emergency repairs and bought a new patio set. In the car, Mark's pen moves across his legal pad. Each stroke marks another nail in the coffin of my childhood illusions. The perfect family, the loving sister, the supportive parents. All as artificial as Mother's cinnamon roll recipe copied from a magazine and passed off as a cherished family secret. My phone buzzes. A text from Denise. Hope you're happy. Mom's crying. I switch off the screen, watching the house shrink in the side mirror. The morning glories wave in the breeze, still reaching, still climbing, oblivious to the poison at their roots. At our apartment that day, the laptop screen casts a blue glow across my desk as numbers scroll past. Each transaction feels like another betrayal. Mark leans over my shoulder, his legal pad filling with notes as we track the pattern backward through time. 2 years, he says quietly. Look at this. My stomach clenches as the total appears. $17,800. Nearly $18,000 siphoned away through careful manipulation. Small amounts at first, building slowly like a crescendo. I open my text messages, and the familiar knot forms in my throat. The manipulation stands stark against the white background. You're so successful, Val, not like the rest of us struggling to make ends meet. That was Mom, right before asking for help with property taxes she and Dad had always managed before. If you really loved your nieces, you'd want them to have the same opportunities you had. Denise's guilt trip came 2 days before Christmas, targeting the college fund I'd started for the girls. That's what family does, honey. We support each other. Dad's words preceded a request for money to fix Travis's truck. The same truck I'd later see parked at the golf club where he'd bought a new membership. Mark's finger traces the timestamps. Notice the pattern? Every major holiday, every birthday, every family reunion. They planned it that way, I whisper, remembering how they'd timed their requests for moments when saying no would make me the villain. They knew exactly what they were doing. The doorbell rings, startling us both. Through the peephole, I see Colin shifting nervously on my welcome mat. When I open the door, his face is drawn, shoulders hunched under his wrinkled dress shirt. I should have told you, he blurts before I can speak. I knew Denise was planning something at the wedding. I heard her talking to Mom about your accounts, but His voice cracks. I was too afraid to warn you, they've always controlled everything. He pulls out his phone, fingers trembling slightly, as he navigates to a group chat I've never seen. Screenshots appear, dating back months. My sister's casual discussion of accessing my accounts. Mom's suggestions about timing. Dad's silent approval shown through thumbs-up emojis. They excluded me after I questioned whether it was right, Colin says. His words carry the weight of years spent watching from the sidelines, afraid to challenge the family hierarchy. Mark's colleague arrives an hour later, her briefcase filled with financial crime precedents. She spreads documents across my dining room table, each page highlighting another family's broken trust. This is theft, pure and simple, she explains, pointing to relevant statutes. The premeditation makes it worse, legally speaking. But they're my family, I hear myself say, the old excuse rising automatically to my lips. Mark's hand covers mine. Would you let a stranger take $9,000 from you? The question hits like a splash of cold water. I've been conditioned to accept their exploitation, to believe their needs somehow trumped my right to financial security. To think saying no made me selfish. We spend the next 3 hours documenting everything. Bank records arranged chronologically, transfer logs timestamped to match the hotel stay, text messages revealing years of calculated manipulation. Colin's testimony about their premeditation, recorded and notarized. My phone buzzes constantly as we work. The messages pour in. Your father's having heart problems because of this. Mom's attempt at medical guilt. What will the neighbors think when they hear how you've turned on your own blood? Denise invoking small-town shame. You've always been the difficult one, Valerie. Always had to make everything harder than it needed to be. Dad's familiar refrain. I silence the notifications without responding. Their words hold no power now that I see the pattern. Each manipulation attempt joins the evidence pile, another brick in the wall of my case. Colin watches me work, wonder slowly replacing the fear in his eyes. I've never seen you like this, he says softly. I meet his gaze in the window's reflection, seeing myself clearly for the first time. Neither have I. The dining room table transforms into a war room as evening falls. Mark's legal pad fills with witness statements. Colin's screenshots print in crisp detail. My financial records tell their story in black and white, the truth stripped bare of emotional manipulation. A text arrives from Travis. You'll regret this. Family should mean more than money. I add it to the evidence file without flinching. They're right about one thing, this isn't about money anymore. It's about breaking free from the cage they built around me, bar by careful bar, using obligation as their hammer and guilt as their nails. The last document slides into place as midnight approaches. My hand hovers over the signature line on the official complaint. The pen feels heavy with the weight of what I'm about to do. Mark squeezes my shoulder. You don't have to decide tonight. But I do. Because every moment of hesitation is another moment they think they can control me. Another moment they believe their needs matter more than my boundaries. I sign my name in steady strokes, each letter an act of liberation. What now? Colin asks, his voice stronger than I've ever heard it. I close the file with a quiet finality. Now we show them what real family looks like. 3 days later, the Financial Crimes Division occupies the third floor of a granite building downtown. Detective Sarah Chen studies the security footage from the Boise Hampton Inn, her dark eyes narrowing at the screen. The timestamp reads 7:42 a.m. Watch her body language, Detective Chen says, pointing to Denise's figure moving down the hotel hallway. She checks both directions before using her keycard. My stomach clenches as I watch my sister slip into my hotel room. The camera angle captures her emerging 11 minutes later, tucking something into her purse. Mark's hand finds mine under the conference table. The bank confirmed unauthorized access from the hotel's IP address during that exact time frame, he says. Detective Chen nods, making another note in her leather-bound portfolio. This isn't my first family financial exploitation case. They often target successful siblings or adult children. The perpetrators count on shame keeping the victim quiet. The word victim burns in my throat. I spent years building spreadsheets to track other people's money. How did I miss this happening in my own family? We'll proceed with formal notifications today, Detective Chen says, sliding cream-colored envelopes across her desk. Each bears an official police department seal. The names stare up at me in stark black ink. Denise Monroe, Travis Monroe, Elaine Monroe, George Monroe, my family. Soon to be official suspects in a criminal investigation. Mark's colleague Sandra Marshall, a financial crimes attorney, reviews the final paperwork. I'm taking this pro bono, she says, her silver hair catching the morning light. Financial abuse within families has to stop. It destroys more than bank accounts, it shatters trust at the deepest level. I sign the last form, my signature steady despite the tremor in my chest. 3 hours later, my phone erupts. The first text comes from Mom. How could you betray your own family like this, after everything we've done for you? Dad's message arrives through Colin. Tell your sister she's broken your mother's heart. She knows what she needs to do to fix this. Fix this. The same words he used when I was 12, and Denise crashed my bike, bending the frame beyond repair. He bought her a new one instead. The calls to my office begin during the afternoon client meeting. My assistant Jeremy slips me a note. Your sister Denise has called 6 times. Says it's a family emergency. I turn my phone face down, focusing on the quarterly projections. Numbers don't lie, numbers don't manipulate. At 4:45, Travis's number appears on Mark's office line. Mark puts it on speaker. You'll regret getting involved in family business, lawyer boy. Travis's voice carries that false bravado he uses at poker nights. Some things should stay private. Mark records the call, his expression neutral. That sounded like a threat, Mr. Monroe. Would you like to clarify your meaning for the record? The line goes dead. I maintain my silence through their barrage. No responses to texts, no returned calls. Each attempted contact becomes another entry in the evidence log Sandra maintains. The spiral-bound notebook fills with dates, times, quotes. Wednesday, 10:15 a.m., Denise voicemail. If you don't drop this, I'll tell everyone at your firm about your breakdown in college. Thursday, 2:30 p.m., text from Mom. Your father's blood pressure is through the roof. If anything happens to him, it's on your head. Friday, 8:45 a.m., email from Travis. You've always been jealous of what Denise and I have. This proves it. Colin arrives at my office Friday afternoon, his laptop tucked under his arm. I found something you need to see. He opens a folder of screenshots. Years of family text messages. Plans to access my accounts. Discussions of the best times to ask for money. Calculations of how much they could take before I might notice. Denise. She's so busy with work she never checks her daily transactions. Mom. Wait until after she gets her bonus. She'll feel guilty having so much when we're struggling. Travis. I know her phone password. She uses the same one for everything. My throat tightens as I scroll through their casual dissection of my financial habits. The same people who taught me to balance a checkbook planned for months to drain my accounts. Detective Chen adds the screenshots to her growing file. This pattern repeats in almost every family financial exploitation case. The perpetrators convince themselves they're entitled to the victim's assets. They normalize the theft through small steps. She pauses, tapping her pen against the desk. Most victims never report it. They carry the shame that should belong to the perpetrators. What changed for you? She asks. What made you decide to fight back? The answer rises from that cold place in my stomach, the one that first warned me something was wrong in that hotel bathroom. They didn't just steal my money. I say. They stole my right to say no, my right to set boundaries. Every time they took without asking, they said I didn't deserve basic respect. Detective Chen's pen moves across her notepad. Would you consider sharing your story? No names, no identifying details, but other victims need to know they're not alone. I think of that girl I was, writing careful entries in her first checkbook. How long did it take before she learned to flinch at family phone calls, knowing each one carried a hidden price tag? Yes, I tell Detective Chen. They rely on our silence. It's time to start talking. The article appears in the Sunday paper. Financial exploitation. When family ties become financial traps. My story sits at the center, anonymous but exact. The details paint a familiar picture for anyone living it. The gradual escalation, the emotional manipulation, the carefully planned betrayal. My phone dings with a text from an unknown number. Thank you for telling my story too. I thought I was the only one. I save the message as Detective Chen and Sandra file the paperwork for a restraining order against Denise and Travis. The forms feel heavy in my hands, weighted with years of crossed boundaries and ignored no's. Mark reviews the final document. You're not just protecting yourself, he says. You're showing others they can protect themselves too. I sign my name one more time. The letters flow smooth and certain, writing a new chapter in a story that was never just about money. It was about reclaiming my voice, one signature at a time. A month later, the fluorescent lights of courtroom 302 cast harsh shadows across the polished oak of the witness stand. I sit with my spine straight, hands folded in my lap, watching my family file into the gallery. Mark's steady presence beside me anchors me to the moment. Denise sweeps in wearing her favorite St. John suit, the one she bought the day after stealing my money. Her pearl necklace catches the light as she leans close to Travis, whispering, "She'll back down, she always does." The words float across the quiet courtroom, and I see Judge Henderson's head tilt slightly. His steely gray eyes track my sister's movement, missing nothing. All rise. The familiar ritual of the court proceedings washes over me. Folders open, papers shuffle. The prosecutor, Sandra Chen, arranges her evidence with precise movements. Your Honor, Sandra begins, the evidence will show a deliberate, premeditated scheme to defraud Miss Monroe of her savings. My mother's sharp intake of breath cuts through the air. I don't turn around. The weight of their stares presses against my back, but I keep my eyes forward. Colin takes the stand first. His hands tremble as he adjusts the microphone, but his voice stays steady. Yes, I saw the messages in the family group chat. They planned it for weeks. And Miss Monroe wasn't included in these discussions? No, they specifically excluded her. Denise's manicured nails drum against the wooden barrier. The sound echoes like falling coins. The evidence unfolds like a meticulously arranged symphony. Sandra presents the hotel security footage, crystal clear in its damning simplicity. Denise entering my room. The banking records showing access from the hotel's IP address. The timestamp matches perfectly. Then the text messages appear on the courtroom screen. Val never checks her accounts during family events, too busy playing the perfect daughter. Denise. She makes plenty, time she shared with those who really need it. Travis. Just make sure you do it before checkout. She always showers right after breakfast. Mom. The color drains from Denise's face as her own words glow above us. Travis shifts in his seat, tugging at his collar. Your Honor. Travis stands suddenly, his lawyer trying to pull him back down. You don't understand. We're a close family. We share everything. Judge Henderson's voice cuts through the air like a blade. Mr. Monroe, sharing is consensual. This was theft. The word hangs in the air. Theft. So simple, so clean. No fancy justifications, no complex family dynamics, just theft. When the guilty pleas come, they land like stones in still water. First Travis, then Denise. Their voices sound small in the vast courtroom. Judge Henderson removes his glasses, polishing them slowly as he considers the sentence. The silence stretches until it feels like glass about to shatter. 2 years probation. His voice carries to every corner. Full restitution of $9,200, plus $4,000 in damages. A 3-year restraining order against both defendants. He pauses, settling his glasses back on his nose. And to the parents, while you're not criminally charged, you face civil liability for receiving stolen funds. I suggest you make arrangements to return the money promptly. The gavel falls with a sharp crack that makes my mother jump. Outside, the October sun feels too bright. Dead leaves skitter across the courthouse steps as my mother approaches, her hand outstretched. "We can put this behind us now," she says, her voice carrying that familiar note of authority that used to make me fold like wet paper. I meet her eyes. The money was never the issue. It was the betrayal. My father steps forward, his face gray and drawn. For the first time in my life, he looks old. "I should have stopped them, I'm sorry." The words come 35 years too late, but something in my chest loosens slightly at hearing them. Denise strides past, her heels striking sparks from the concrete. She won't look at me. Travis follows, but at the bottom of the steps, he turns. "You've destroyed this family." The words rip from his throat, raw with rage and something that might be fear. The autumn wind lifts my hair as I turn to face him. Mark's hand finds the small of my back, warm and steady. "No," my voice carries clearly in the morning air. "You did that when you decided I was worth less than my bank account." The words land like truth, simple and clean. Behind me, the heavy doors of justice swing closed with a sound like thunder. The envelope sits unopened on my kitchen counter for 3 days. The return address catches my eye each morning. Marty Davis, 1000